Hello, this is a live with Sophia Wren, helping you to write, create awe-striking things and market yourself for your book or your business or another project. Really excited to talk about getting into a flow state and how I'm helping my clients to do that, how people are finding, what tools people are finding really helpful. I run a course called Psychic Mermaid Creatrix, and we just finished our fourth call out of 7. So we're about halfway through the process. A lot of people are seeing themselves get more focused and getting aha moments. And this is for multi-passionate entrepreneurs, creators, writers, anybody who has a project that they want to see grow. And it's so important also to honor that our lives are really important. So a lot of things sometimes relate to what's going on in our lives, and it makes the connections to exactly what people need to connect to, so that way they can make faster progress on all of the other things. Because to me, it's all really connected, and that's part of the flow space. Because when you're in flow and you're feeling it, you're feeling this energy, you're feeling this motivation, you're feeling this enthusiasm or excitement, you're feeling a passion, you're feeling good. And it's such a big difference from how a lot of people operate, because I know for myself, a few years ago, I had been running my business for, oh, hi, Jen. A few years ago, I had been running my business for many years, and I was starting to get really burned out. And, as a copywriter, I had a lot of clients that I was doing all of the marketing words for on their websites, and I actually wrote a book for one of my clients, was writing scripts for videos, and doing emails for them and posts for them and all these things. And there were a lot of deadlines, and I was able to produce the things, but I was just getting in a grindy place. So that's something I talk about, and I want to try to help other people get out of, is like when you can get out of the grind and get into the flow state, it's such a different way of producing things. And I would just put it out there, for you, for Jen, and for anybody else watching the replay, which would you rather do, right? Like, would you rather grind away at something and get a result that you want, or would you like to find a way where you can flow with it and integrate it into your life, so that way you're at the peak of being inspired? And sorry for my voice. You're at the peak of being inspired, and you're at the peak of brimming with ideas and creativity and motivation, and it's flowing, And I think the biggest part about it is, for that to happen, we have to acknowledge that our life is full of different themes and threads, and you're not gonna have all the threads be consistent the entire time. Like, we're not robots. And Jen says, such a perfect topic for today, feeling it with the Cancer full moon. Oh, thanks for letting me know. And hey, Chelsea, I see you watching too. So we're talking about the flow state. We're talking about producing things, like whether you're writing or working on a business or working on another project, and grinding it out in a way that can burn you out, or getting into a flow state where it comes, and it just comes naturally, and it feels good, and the ideas are just exploding out of you, and they're just so ready to go onto the page or to become reality. And you have all this energy to do things. And what I really feel like is, I don't know if I want to say we, like me personally, or, any of you guys, but I would just say that the thing I get from our culture is that we're very expected to work like a workhorse or a factory worker, or sit down and do 8 hours a day and churn out stuff. And I feel like that model is so ingrained in American society that, we do it with school, and we kind of get brainwashed into thinking this is sort of the way that you need to do everything. And I think that in reality, some writers work like that. I know Stephen King works like that. That's great. But there's a lot of people who that isn't really the best way that works for them. It could be that you are neurologically diverse. Like, maybe you have ADHD, or you are on the autism spectrum, or any of these things that means that your way of thinking and your sensitivity levels are different. And maybe there's another way for you. You don't have to go with the mainstream way. And maybe that mainstream way is really helpful for the people who are the CEOs, maybe it's not even really that great for all the people who are working. So you get to kind of decide if you are a CEO, if you are a small business owner, or you're a writer or creator, like you do get to be your own boss. And I always say, like, try not to be a crappy boss. Try not to be a jerk boss to yourself, you know? And I really feel like for me, that was the hardest thing for me to learn. It took me many years to learn that. And that's part of why I got burned out, is because I started to be expanding my business to work with other partners, which was great because I was getting lots of referrals, I was getting lots of clients, but it did add extra pressure because I knew that there were other people involved. I was more thinking about how it would look if I was late, and how more people were counting on me and waiting on me, and I felt the pressure of that responsibility a lot harder. So I really started to just try to evaluate what I could do to make things different. And it's something I'm still doing. And it's something that I don't think there's a one size fit all kind of thing. And that's where I'm here to help other people to tap into what works for them, and to be more present with themselves and meet yourself where you're at. Right. Yeah. Don't be a jerk boss, and like listen to yourself, you know, like listen to your underling, like listen to your person, and see, you know, how are you feeling? I actually started doing something on my phone where I have an alarm, which is probably maybe a little annoying to my fiance, but 4 times a day, I have a new habit where my alarm goes off and it asks me, how are you doing? How are you really? Like, really though, how are you? And it gives me a chance to just ask myself, how am I? And if I'm hungry or thirsty or tired of doing the thing I'm doing, or I really want to do something else, it's kind of just a moment for me to kind of check in and just really consciously decide, do I want to continue what I'm doing now, or do I want to do something else? So that's just like an example of something that I brought into my life to try to be better boss to myself, and be more mindful, and be paying more attention to me as an individual. And like, you are allowed to be an individual, and it's about finding a balance between, you know, pushing yourself and also nurturing yourself. And it's going to change. It's going to change depending on the season of your life. It's going to depend maybe on your menstrual cycle or the moon. It's going to depend on all these things. So again, it's not something I can just say like, this is the system that all people need to use. But I love taking notes and kind of reflecting and reviewing. And that's why I do these habit challenges, because it gives people a chance to kind of like talk to people. And, you know, maybe every day they're trying to do something, and they can check in and say, oh, I didn't do it, or hey, I did do it, and here's something that helped, or, you know, maybe tomorrow I'll try this instead. And, you know, I think that sometimes when you involve community, you start to just have that opportunity to ask yourself, you know, how am I doing? And like tell people. And it's not really about telling people, it's just really more about having that time for yourself. So that would be my biggest advice for anybody who's trying to get more in the flow state, is just try to observe yourself more, and maybe take some notes about how you're doing every day, or even once a week or something, and just sort of review like what is working for me, how am I feeling, is there something I'm needing more of, what can I do? Because the flow state isn't something that you can just set and forget and like show up like work and just, it will just automatically be there for you. You have to cultivate it, and you have to craft routines and what I like to call rituals. So what makes something a ritual versus a habit or a routine is that it's not just about doing it regularly. For me personally, and this could be individual, for me personally, a ritual has like an extra magical touch. You know, it has a little something extra that lights my imagination and my spirituality. And it could be I'm lighting a candle. But you can kind of think of it as like, and this has really helped my clients a lot, to really start thinking about what rituals they can bring into their lives. Because it kind of starts and ends sections like of your life, you know, like maybe in the morning you do something that's like kind of signifies to yourself like, oh, it's morning and we're going to be doing this sort of thing. Or maybe there's like a bedtime type of ritual. It's like, okay, we're going to bed. We're shifting gears into a new section of the day. And maybe you can do something at the beginning of a task and at the end of a task, especially if it's a difficult thing, you know, like working on financial boring stuff. Or, hey, Sabrina. And to have some kind of like ritual in your day that has it's not just habitual, but it's like, it brings something spiritual in, or it brings something for your creativity in. It brings something that really lights up that part of you, that's that special part of you that doesn't always show up automatically if you're just like working like a workhorse, right? It's a little something extra. And that bringing that into your life in whatever way you can will help you be in a flow state more, and it will help you enjoy what you're doing more, and will help you create from a brimming, exuberant place rather than a place where you're reaching down to the bottom of something and trying to get the last drops of what you have. You know, you want to try to create as many of those little special times a day as you can. And remember, you're never going to be productive 100% of the day, and that's not the goal. So if I like to think of it as strands, as weaving strands, or going through seasons of your life where you have focuses more in that season. You know, there's ways for you to play with it. I'll probably do another video on that topic another day, but just want to bring in this idea of being in flow state, meet yourself where you're at, try to adjust to where you are, even throughout a day, throughout a week, throughout a month, throughout a process. You might need certain things to get there that change, and you're only going to know by asking yourself, how am I really? And being honest, without judgment. And the third thing is try to find opportunities for ritual and try to find opportunities for basically magic. This is why I talk about mermaids and sparkles and all this stuff, because to me that like is so much more fun. And since I brought that in, I haven't been feeling as burned out. I have been much more open to the things that are going to be helping me be in a flow state that I wouldn't have thought up with my mind. Things are coming to me more. So that has been one of my solutions for burnout, is just to be much more of a mermaid and to tell the world that. And so I'm not quite like any other writer, marketing, consultant, coach person. Like, I'm a mermaid one. So I know not everybody following me is a mermaid, but some are. But finding the things that light you up and seeing how you can integrate it into things that otherwise might burn you up, burn you out, or be not as fun as they could be. So what can you bring in to make it more of a ritual or more of a magical experience, more of a creative flow thing for you? And Jen says, love the message, checking in with the self, finding time for ritual. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome. And sometimes we already know this stuff, but it's just like a good reminder and a good opportunity to kind of take over more of your day, you know, like take over more, because we can't do everything at once, but you know, like what's the next little thing you can focus on to make that more of a flow for you. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Let me know how you like it and check in. And if anyone would like to join, we've got the free habit challenge for another week in my Facebook group. Drop me a comment below if you'd like to join that. I can send the link. We're going to be posting every day so that we can have a conversation about how we're doing with our habit. Also, I'm soon going to be telling everybody about this new program I have called Your Mermaid Treasure, where I'm going to be exploring how entrepreneurs can show what they have for offer in a way that makes people see the value of it. So people can see that they have this amazing treasure to offer and they're like, ooh and ah, and I need that. Especially if you're a coach or a healer and maybe people don't get what you do, this could be really helpful to make sure that the way you're displaying your offerings on your website or talking about them is something people really get, and they get why they should buy from you. And so I'm excited. I'm going to share more about that in the coming weeks. And for now, the Psychic Mermaid Creatrix course is still available as a home study program if you want to join us on that journey to connect to your inner mermaid and bring that into everything you're creating so you can make faster progress. All right, so those are all the things I'm up to, you guys. Thank you so much for watching and sending you big kisses.